to yet another taste talk. Today we have Sruthi Swaminathan back with us again. We're in her kitchen as she is making Brussels sprouts with a sesame, is it a sesame tahini dressing? Did I get
it? It's a sesame ginger dressing.
Ginger dressing. So we are loving all of the salads and all of these veggie-friendly dishes that you have been doing lately. So perfect for the summertime and hot days like it is today. So Sruthi, if you will please take it away for us.
Right. Hi, guys. Hi, Gemma. Hi, Asaf. Good to see you guys. Yeah, so as Christine said, I'm going to be sharing a salad recipe today. I have been eating a little more salads, although that can't be said of my lunch. I was telling Christine earlier, Velvet Taco just opened down the street, and my husband and I went and ate that. So I'm pretty full. So I was also saying, usually you'll find me right after the class, just eating a whole bowl of what I made. I might wait just a little bit, maybe an hour or so to get it started, because I just recently ate. So yeah, so we're gonna be doing a Brussels sprout salad with a sesame ginger dressing. Although what Christine said about tahini in there, I would love to put tahini. I love tahini so much. I'm sure if you added tahini to this, it would just make it kind of a creamier version of the dressing, and it would still be just great. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you some of the things that I have prepped, and I'm going to prep a couple more things before we go. So first, about the Brussels sprouts. I want to take this time to make a broader statement about food and shopping and grocery shopping in general. I feel like living where we live, living in Chicago, I've really grown to take it for granted that we can find whatever produce, whatever ingredients we want at any time, right? If you want apples and it's spring or summer when they're not really fully in season, you can get them. If you want radishes, if you want anything, you want certain kinds of cheese from certain kinds of milk, where cows, I've been reading a lot about cows that are raised and kind of give birth at different parts of the year, and depending on what they eat, their milk tastes different, the meat tastes different, and all of that. But I just take it for granted that we can find anything at any time. So the reason I bring this up is I was like, I'm going to make this Brussels sprout salad. It's going to be great. I checked for Brussels sprouts twice at the store, and there were none. What I did find was this kind of mix, right? So this is a mix that has Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, broccoli, carrots, and kale.
Oh, that sounds like a great mix too.
Yes, like a pre-shredded mix. So this isn't, sometimes you can find things like this that are pre-salad packs. So they come with the dressing, they come with croutons, they come with cheese. This is not that, because I was going to make my own dressing. This is basically just this, and it tells you on the back, you can put it in your omelets, you can blend it with vanilla yogurt or coconut water for a drink. It says all these things. And I'm amazed by this because I never buy pre-shredded stuff like this. I usually just get the Brussels sprouts and don't use a mandolin. I don't use a mandolin because they're very dangerous to me, but I'll shred them by hand. I'll cut them up. But I got this, and I also got this just to show some kind of variety. So this one is just called broccoli slaw. So today I think I'm going to use a mix of these two things, but know that the same dressing and everything else I'm going to add in it goes really great with Brussels sprouts, because I have worked with it that way.
Where did you get those packages?
So I just got them in the greens, or the salad greens aisle at Mariano's, just the Mariano's by me in the West Loop. So those were available, but I went in and the Brussels sprouts areas were just empty, and I asked them and they were like, no, they just didn't come in. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to make this. So, all right. So this is obviously the bulk of it is going to be these veggies that we're going to put in, and the fact that they're pre-shredded, it's also a great time saver. Yes, they're more expensive to buy them this way, but if you're looking for something quick, you have a lot of people coming over and don't want to be shredding 6 pounds of Brussels sprouts. This is the way to go, and broccoli and carrots, etc. So we have this. I have a large bowl here that I'm going to be putting it in my standard salad bowl that I make all my salads in. And another thing we're going to do, we're going to make it first actually, is we're going to make the dressing, because really the components of this are pretty simple. You have the vegetables. We're going to put some cranberries in there for sweetness. We're going to add some slivered almonds in there as well, which I think I have left over from a previous taste talk that I did and I haven't used since. Other kinds of nuts you can use in here. I love peanuts. They're my favorite kind of nut. However, Zane, our son, is allergic to peanuts. So we try not, I don't think he's gonna eat this. He's gonna be at grandparents tonight for dinner. But I just try to like minimize use of peanuts while I can, except maybe when he's asleep and I'll eat some like Reese's peanut butter puffs cereal, just my favorite. So peanuts would be great in here, honey roasted peanuts, salted peanuts. I've seen these sort of Thai spiced cashews, which could go really well in here. Pine nuts could be really great. Pine nuts are a little pricier, but also excellent. I mean, I know you use them for pesto, but if you ever have any left over, you can toss them in the salad. I know you can also use sunflower seeds. I don't like the texture of sunflower seeds. I feel like they get caught in my teeth more than other things. So I don't use that, but that's adding that kind of crunch element. And then the nuts or the cranberries are obviously adding a little bit of that tartness and sweetness, and they're a little bit softer. It's a different texture. The veg are obviously nice and crunchy and fresh. And then we're gonna add some cheese to it. So right here, I have just some shredded Parmesan. I just have 2 potatoes, so some shredded Parmesan that I'm gonna add. Romano cheese really works well in here as well. I wouldn't use something like goat cheese or some kind of blue cheese just because the dressing that we're making has a lot of flavor in it. I wouldn't want to take away from that with the pungency and with kind of the strength of those kind of cheeses. So I think Parmesan works really well here. It adds a nice like salty element, but it also tastes neutral enough to let the dressing itself shine. And then before we make the dressing, the last thing we're going to add in here, which is optional, and if you're a vegetarian, you don't have to add this, is I picked up some pancetta. And I almost never buy pancetta. I almost never eat pork or beef. It's very rare, but I thought that it could be a really nice addition to the salad just because we're using such minimal ingredients. And this is going to take so little prep. Like I'm not going to add oil to it because there's tons of fat in here already. I'm not going to add any kind of seasonings to it. All I'm going to do is put it in the pan and crisp it up for a few minutes and toss it in the salad for that really kind of crispy element. So with the almonds, you're going to get a little more of that crunch and not quite that like ultra crispy of this. I know how to describe it, slightly different textures, but this is going to go in there as well. So before we get the pancetta started, let me go ahead and make the dressing. So for the dressing, you're going to need a few things. A couple things that I've already put in here are some grated ginger as well as grated garlic. They're both in here already. And you definitely want to grate it for this. I personally don't like biting into bits of ginger at all, even if it's all cooked, and I don't want to do that with garlic either. So I just kind of used this to this kind of hand grater. What is this called?
Microplane.
Microplane. Yes, thank you. I use this microplane just to kind of grate both of them, and they're in here. Other things we're going to add is we're going to add a little bit of sesame oil. So this is sesame oil that I think I just bought at, you can buy it at any grocery store now in the international aisle, but I think I bought mine at H Mart, which is this Korean grocery store that's by me as well. So we're going to add a couple tablespoons of this to the dressing. So let me just point you down so you can see me adding all of these things. Okay, here's the bowl. So we're just going to add a couple tablespoons of sesame oil. We're going to add also a couple tablespoons of olive oil. So the reason for this is it does need a little more, I feel it does need a little more oil in here, but if I add too much sesame oil, I find that the flavor is pretty overwhelming. So I'll usually split it with some extra virgin olive oil and some sesame oil. So that way.
Yeah, sesame oil is really, really strong. So
yeah, exactly. It's really strong and I love the flavor of it, but if I just had the sesame oil in there, that's all you would taste. And I want to be able to taste the other things. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is some.
You use the sesame oil mostly for the flavor?
Yeah, I use the sesame oil mostly for the flavor, but there's an equal amount of kind of sesame oil as well as olive oil in here to get that more of that dressing-ish consistency for sure. Okay. And then I'm going to add some mushroom soy sauce. So this is what I was missing the last time I think I made my scallion scrambled eggs. This is the brand. I think it's called the Healthy Boy brand. Here you go. I got it on Amazon. This is giant bottle for scale. And I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of this. And again, this adds that saltiness, but it does add, I don't know that I don't necessarily taste mushroom, but there is some other complexity of flavor in here that you don't get from regular soy sauce alone. Okay, so this is coming out really slowly. So we are going to just go like that and estimate. It's about 1. That's about 2. Okay. And know that you can always adjust this. Like none of this is set in stone. So let's see what it looks like right now. I have a little bits of, you see that? Like ginger and garlic mixed in there. Already smells very, very good. And this soy sauce smells different than the regular soy sauce too. Okay, and then we're gonna add some rice vinegar to give it a little bit of that acidity. So with any kind of salad dressing, you're doing some combination of like an oil and an acid along with, I always add some kind of aromatic to it or some kind of herb. So here the acid is coming from this vinegar, and this is just a rice vinegar also that I picked up at H Mart, but I know that this brand, Lee Kum Kee, you can find it anywhere. You can find it in Chinatown. You can also find it online or at your regular grocery store. So let's go ahead and add, so I'm gonna add like a little over 2 tablespoons maybe. Mix that up. And then for a little bit of element of sweetness, I typically add, I'll add like honey. Sometimes I'll add brown sugar. In this case, I meant to add maple syrup, but what I ended up having was this kind of maple agave blend. This is Trader Joe's. Yeah, this is from Trader Joe's. I've had this in my cabinet for a long time. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to add as a sweetener, I didn't want to go out and just buy pure maple syrup just for this, because I do like adding this to my teas. I like adding it to different salad dressings. So I'm going to add this here.
So does this maple agave blend, is it like a cheaper price point than like pure maple syrup then? Do you recall when you purchased it?
It's cheaper than I know that in maple syrup, you have like grade A, grade B, yeah. I believe. I think it was a little cheaper than the grade A that they had, but I also got it because I saw that there was maple agave and I'd never tasted something like that before. And the maple agave to me tastes a little bit nuttier than the maple syrup alone. And I wish I could say I've made tons of pancakes and have this, but I don't really eat pancakes that often, but I'm sure it'd be great. You'll see it's not as thick, maybe because the agave, I'm not sure. It's just not quite as thick as other maple syrups I've tried. So here I'm gonna add, maybe just start with like a tablespoon of it, and then we'll taste it later. We can add more if we want. And again, you don't need salt in here. There's already the soy sauce. And this is the dressing. Like, look at how the colors even changed. Do you see that? Like, it's become more of this like golden color, all from, the soy sauce, then also the maple syrup, and the sesame oil had that nice color too. Okay, so we're gonna set this aside and just let that hang out for a little bit. And in the meantime, we are gonna make the pancetta. So for the pancetta, I'm just gonna open this container up and I'm gonna just turn this on. Okay. I'm gonna cut this up. Super simple. I mean, I don't use pancetta often, but when I use it, I find that you need so little of it. Like I first saw this and I was like, this is like a really small container, but it's not like this container is dinner for someone. I mean, I'd hope not. Like looking at the nutrition facts, may not be real. But just adding this little bit to a big bowl of salad really makes a difference. And again, if you're vegetarian, or even if you're not vegetarian and you're making this for a party, you don't know people's dietary preferences or restrictions, etc., just crisp this up and leave it on the side. Just set it aside, and then people can kind of help themselves. They can add it themselves. And I'll do that sometimes with dressing too. I used to just toss the salad with the dressing and just let it all hang out. But then people may show up later than you expect. People may be talking and not eating, and you don't want the salad to get soggy. So I leave the salad dressing on the side, just like I would leave this on the side, and people can kind of serve themselves. All right, I've opened this up. I am going to take you guys over there, and we're gonna eat. Huh?
Field trip.
Yeah. Let me take this here, and then I will just show it to you guys as I'm doing it. How do I put this camera? Okay, here we go. You guys can see that?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So all I'm doing is I have this container of pancetta right here. I'm just putting it in here. Nothing special about it. Just put in. Of course, I love that sizzle sound. You know it's hot enough. It's the sound of the fat kind of hitting the pan. It's starting to cook already. So while that's happening, I'm just going to get a little spatula. I'm really tempted every time I put things in the pan. Like, I'm eager to get going. So what I'll do is I'll just like over stir. I don't know if any of you do that. I'll just over stir things. I'll be like, toss it and toss it. But really, you need to let it sit for a little bit to develop some color and for one side to twist up. If you look closely, bubbling away pretty nicely.
Mm-hmm.
The fast all cooking. This didn't take long. It's like a couple of minutes.
You're a little muffled right now.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
Oh, there we go. That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah.
That. Okay. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I think I was just covering that thing. Okay. So I'm just mixing this up. Pretty, you can see that it's cooking pretty quickly. And this is one of those things that keeps cooking after you take it off. You can see that the meat's already turning from a combination of like the pink and white to mainly white. And that's a sign that it is cooking. And because these pieces are so small too and have such a high fat content, it just isn't going to take that long. And I know that pancetta, so at least for me, maybe if someone knows more exactly about how pancetta is like cured or made, I know with prosciutto, there's like a long curing process. Is that clear? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you just getting muffled a little bit, but I think we can hear a bit better now. So.
Okay. So yeah, it just gets a little bit. I feel like pancetta is salty enough for me. There's a little soy sauce as well in there in the dressing, so I'm not going to be really adding too much salt to this. But once let's see.
So yeah, pancetta is very, very closely related to bacon. And it needs to be cooked. It is simply cured. So it's just a very simple cure that happens with pancetta.
And that's in a little bit of salt, right? Yeah, so I'm just adding a tiny bit here, not too much. I'm actually going to turn the heat off right now because I can smell that parts of it, we are getting crispy. Oh, this is that like weekend brunch smell. Look at all that fat that's in there. You're not going to need all that. You can always use a slotted spoon to just take this out. I'm just going to let that sit for a couple more minutes in that hot oil. And then it's just going to continue to cook in here. And then once that happens, we'll come back and we'll be able to add it. So that's really all of the cooking per se for this salad. It's just cooking the pancetta. And if you're not adding pancetta, you don't even need to do that. Another thing I've done in the past is made sort of like a warm Brussels sprout salad. So what I'll do there is I'll have my shredded Brussels sprouts. I'll use like a large wok just to have a big surface area. And then I'll just toss the Brussels sprouts in there with a little sesame oil, with a little salt and pepper to season that in itself. And then just warm it up until it wilts a little bit, but not all of them are wilted. So it adds to that textural element. And cooking it down like that with the sesame oil, you're toasting the sesame oil, so you get a little more flavor in that. And then you can use your regular sesame oil or toasted sesame oil in the dressing. So, okay. In the meantime, while that's finishing up cooking, I'm just gonna plate the salad. So let me show you one thing there. I'm gonna first add in, it just says it's the power blend. My dog smelled the
Your
pancetta.
dog's probably like, what is going on up
Yeah,
there?
probably like,
I need that.
I know. It's crazy, you know, sometimes I'll say things to her and I'll be like, oh, she doesn't hear me. And then a little ounce of food will drop on the floor and she'll be like very far away and she'll just appear, you know, she'll just appear out of nowhere. I'm gonna add a little bit of this, not too much. And then just gonna grab this.
I always love seeing these salads get assembled in the big salad bowl.
Oh yeah. What? Oh, look at this. Here's a Brussels sprout,
Yay!
not shaved all the way. So there it is. I have it. Yeah, I always use this bowl. I mean, when I take like food photos, I feel like it looks cool in this bowl with all the reflections, but it can make it hard looking for. See, there you go.
Awesome.
Toss that in there. I'm just going to lightly season the greens. I don't know if this is completely essential just because we have this soy sauce. It's out of habit. We have some salt in there. And then we're gonna add in the cranberries. And I'll toss it at the end because I know last time Asaf was like, hey, this looks like the bibimbap, which it does because I love to arrange everything around the bowl first. And then I like to toss it. I like cranberries. I'm gonna add a little more. And I'm gonna add some of the almonds. Pretty healthy. Then I'm gonna add in the Parmesan. Let's see that. Cranberries, almonds, and the greens. Parmesan. And left a little space for the pancetta, or for the, yes, for the pancetta. We go grab that. Just left it on the heat for a little bit longer. We'll add that in at the end. And then why don't we go ahead and actually add the dressing to it. So first I'm going to taste this dressing. Let's see. Oh, where's that? Okay. I was gonna say, like, I don't remember putting anything spicy in here. Like, I don't remember putting any like heat in there. Where's that coming from?
It's that ginger, probably.
Ginger. That's exactly right. It's the ginger. The ginger. So this always happens at salad dressing where you try it and you're like, is that like too strong? But then this isn't meant to be eaten by the spoonful. Like it's meant to be tossed in with the rest of this stuff, which we aren't not really seasoned. So I think that that's going to be just fine. And if you really want to adjust it, sometimes I find that if you overdo it with the rice vinegar, it could be a little bit hard to salvage. That's what I found. If you add too much, meaning if you add too much rice vinegar and it's like extra acidic, I know sometimes you can make it work with like adding more oil and things like that. And I find personally, I can do that more if I add regular vinegar. I can do that if I add lemon juice. I can do that if I add apple cider vinegar. But for some reason, if you overdo it with the rice vinegar, which I didn't this time, I went easy on it, I need to figure out the best way to kind of bring it back from that edge, because my usual methods of kind of adding more oil or adding something more herby, or if it's a rice dish, adding more rice just don't seem to work. Maybe I'm just extra sensitive to the taste of, or to the power of rice vinegar. So
Yeah, it is quite intense. Like
pretty
a little
strong.
bit goes a long way with it.
Yes. Yeah, I know. So I think I'm tasting the ginger in there. I'm tasting the rice vinegar. I think it's going to go great with this. Let me just grab the pancetta. Extremely hot oil. We're going to be careful. What I'm going to do is actually grab this spoon and kind of spoon the pancetta. You see the pancetta right there. I'll show it to you once I put all of it in. Definitely don't want to spill any of that oil. And then have it on video forever.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, see, you kind of want it to get that color. I really do want it to get kind of crispy like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will show it to you once I add it in. Yeah, even with this, you can tell like all the pieces have gotten kind of small too because the fat's all melted. Keep in mind, I added no fat in here. This was just the meat, so spoon out as much of it as you can. And then with this oil, now, like I said, I don't usually cook things in pork or with pork or beef. I do sometimes, but this idea of like, well, does this oil now have a bunch of flavor from this bacon fat that you could use for something else? Yes, I would definitely not make it for any vegetarian dishes, but I'm probably gonna let this cool down a little bit, save it, and then either use it. Sometimes I'll use this kind of oil like in a dressing. If I find that it's too strong to use just to, cook vegetables in or something, I'll save it. And then when I'm making a dressing, I'll, just like we used, a combination of sesame oil and olive oil here, I'll use this like bacon fat oil with something else to kind of temper the taste a little bit, but still keep it so that we can see the oils.
Yeah, it's quite a bit.
Quite a bit. So I'm just going to put that to the side. And I'm going to show you the salad, and then we're going to dress it. Here's the salad. It's got all of that. And we're going to take a spoon. I'm just going to kind of drizzle it over. And here I know I have more green. So if I add this, this is what happens when you're not used to kind of living life by like measurement, is if I add all of this and it's like, oh man, it's too much dressing, this is why I saved another half bag of greens, right? To add it at the end because it's gonna be perfectly good to add in. And then I'm just gonna toss it. Ooh, that smells nice. That just hits your nose, like the ginger, the garlic, the rice vinegar, soy sauce. I can't really say I'm smelling the maple agave blend, but I know it's in there. Along with even the sesame oil, and then having this pancetta in here, I can smell a little bit of that oil. Okay, all tossed. Nothing. I told you I get over eager and like stirring things as soon as they hit the pan. Namely chicken thighs, which I put in, and I'm like, oh, time to flip them, and really you should be letting them just sit there. I also love mixing things. I have to remind myself to not
overdo it.
Yes. Now, I'm going to grab a bowl. I'm just going to grab like a little bowl like this. And grab some of this salad.
Yeah, someone said this sounds like a really nice summer dinner.
Yay. Yeah, I have a feeling this is all I'm going to be able to eat. Like I only got 2 tacos at Velvet Taco, but my gosh, it was.
Yeah, when it's over 90 and humid,
there's no need.
Light dinner is nice. That looks great.
Here's the salad. Let me grab a fork and I will try it. Let's try it. Oh man. I feel like I say this at I think I just have good luck when I make things on air. Because I'm like,
you make delicious things, so.
No, I mean, I think as I also try to pick things that I usually don't or can't mess up, not counting the falafel.
No, it was a fabulous hash.
Oh, this dressing makes the salad. So the ginger, the almonds, you're getting little crunch from that. And just if you had asked me, like, in theory, how would ginger go with cranberry? I'd be like, sounds like kind of a weird like pairing, but it works great here because it's so acidic. Oh, what's Gemma saying?
Or she said she was the one who said it was a nice summer dinner.
I feel that fresh ginger goes with everything. I always have grated fresh ginger in my fridge, and I throw it in more things, drinks and different stuff, and I'm amazed at how, and not a lot, so the taste almost disappears, and yet it's still there, and it adds the bite. So I'm sure that the cranberries, I'm sure that I can't wait to try this salad.
Yeah, it's. I'll take a pic of it and send it. Know that it will look like this because I can't go back in time and like arrange it even box style. But I'll take a pic and send it. I have the recipe right here. I'll send that to you. But other additions. So I always like to give like different things you can do or the ways you can change things up. As I said before, a little dollop of tahini in here would be excellent because those are roasted. It's a sesame paste. But this is just straight sesame oil. So again, that idea of bringing in the sesame flavor in two different ways would be really nice. It would also help kind of tone down the acidity from the rice vinegar if you want.
Yeah,
and it would make
some
ginger
creaminess and
it would make the ginger a little less pungent. I already talked about the different kind of nuts you can use in here. In terms of, I love the addition of dried fruits in here. I think it's just something different. And I mean, I feel like everyone has a bag of some kind of dried fruit in their pantry that you're like, what can I do other than just snack on it or like give it to my 3-year-old? You can do this. You can put it in a salad. You can, and then in terms of cheeses, I would say again, goat cheese might be a bit much in here, or specifically like gorgonzola or something like that. That's extra pungent, but the Parmesan is great in here. And then if you do want to experiment with it in terms of, instead of almonds, even putting in like different kinds of seeds, you can do that. One thing that could be really great in here, now that I'm thinking about it, is some mint. I'm not a big fan of mint. I feel like it's very, very strong, but I know when I've had it at restaurants when they put it in salads, there are times when they put in like just the right amount where it gives you that summer feeling without overpowering it and feeling. I always associate mint with like drinks, I guess. So when it's in food, it always feels like, oh, it's a lot, but mint would go really, really well in here for that extra dose of like freshness and herby flavor. Actually have some chives in the fridge that I might try adding in for a little piece and seeing what it's like. So possibilities are endless, starting with apparently not having Brussels sprouts exclusively for Brussels sprout salad and having to use a mix. So
you pivoted well on that. I mean, there's going to definitely be times when it seems right now when something's not necessarily available, but then you found something else cool.
They're not available, and I don't know if you guys have found this. Like I found that sometimes even the quality of produce at grocery stores is not, I'm feeling like it's going down a little bit. I don't know if it's a matter of them like trying to push things out after a long time of not being able to sell much, or if it's, I don't know what's going on, but even if you have a bag, like I picked up, some bags of stuff and I was like, I'm not going to get that. Like I was thinking about adding other things to the salad and I was like, that just doesn't look fresh or it doesn't look good. So yeah, customize it to kind of what you find and what looks good. I know in the past I've made things that are exclusively from things I got at the farmer's market. That would be a great way to supplement this. Like if you find a bunch of mint, or you find like a little mint plant, or anything you can find. If you find really nice looking carrots that you want to use, you could definitely use that here. But now with this mix, I'm actually loving the combination of broccoli and cabbage and Brussels sprouts all in one, so happy mistake, not even a mistake. It's just like happened to be that way, but like, what are you gonna do? Like not eat dinner if you don't find one thing, right? You just kind of have to pivot. And yeah, I've been cooking like this for a long time. So now when something like this happens, I don't panic and I'm just like, okay, I can probably make something edible. So let's see. So yeah.
All right. Well, do you guys have any questions at all on this recipe? And we will be getting that recipe out to everyone too.
And I'll send it too.
Would you add cilantro to this salad, or it might be a bit overwhelming taste?
You can add cilantro. I love cilantro. I add it to a lot of things. I add it to soups, to rice, to many things. There's a specific reason I didn't use cilantro, and it is because I add it to everything. Cilantro, I think, would be great in here. I wanted to kind of challenge myself to get it to a flavor profile that I enjoy without adding the standard thing that I add all the time. I mean, I don't have to do that. I have it in the fridge. I could toss it in right now if I want. But I just like to kind of create these like mini challenges for myself. Like last night, I thought we had nothing to eat. And then I ended up making actually my scallion scrambled eggs and happened to improve on them with a little dash of Shaoxing wine, which is this thing you could just get again in Chinatown. And I had this, my favorite healthy boy soy sauce. So those two things like made it. So we had that for dinner last night, you know? So yeah, so Asaf, to your point, yes, you can definitely add cilantro to this. For me, if I wanted to make it more interesting, just because I eat cilantro all the time, I would add something else. But cilantro would go great in it. Yeah.
Great suggestion. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for today, folks. Thank you so much, Sruthi.
I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, and then tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will have Lydia Burns, our favorite cheesemonger, with us doing a discussion on cheese and stone fruit, because it is definitely that season at the farmer's market. So we want to know how to pair two of those amazing things together. So please join us then. And everyone have a fantastic evening. Thank you.
Bye. I'll see you guys soon.
Yep. Bye, everyone.
Bye.